Um, this class that I'm going to take on this topic, that is active passive with double object. Now, a lot of students actually they get confused with double objects. In the double object, the person is always the indirect object, which I'm going to show you, and the thing, or in Hindi we call it vastu. It could be anything. It could be a glass of water or whatever. It could be a bag. It could be chocolates. Let us talk about chocolates today. I guess class 5th and 6th level students, you love to eat chocolate. So let us say this, like father father buys me chocolates. Now, if you look at the verb, in English grammar, we always say that a sentence is made out of subject, verb, and object. But then we have chocolate also there. This is also an object. Now, like I told you earlier, always remember that when we have double objects, always the person, that is the living, L-I-V-I-N-G, living thing, is the indirect object. I'll write it short. And the non-living things is the direct object. I'll write this also in short. So now we see father buys me chocolates. If you have such a question and your teacher tells you, or if you are given a question that tells you to change this from active to passive, you got to understand that you can make this, or you can turn this from active to passive by using both the indirect object and the direct object. So the person or thing is the IND, indirect object, and this is the direct object. So we got that point. Now let us see if we can make it first from the indirect object. Now remember, after the verb, we have the object which is in the objective form. Now pronouns are in the subjective form, objective form, possessive form, and reflexive form. So now after the verb, we have the objective form. When we bring this to before the verb, then it becomes subject. So we'll say, I, me becomes I, and because you have present indefinite, so you have to use is, am, are, that you know it from class 4 and 5. So I am P-O-U-G-H-T. Passive voice is all about the third form. So I am bought by my father. So that was the indirect object. We made it into passive voice. Now let us see about chocolates. Chocolates are, here we have I, so we turned it to am. Here we have chocolates, plural, are. So chocolates are bought for me by my father. Now that's probably going to be a little difficult for you to understand, because then you say, why we are using the word for? Because when we buy a certain verbs, when we buy for someone. So father bought this chocolate for me. So we have to use to and for preposition whenever we use the direct or indirect object. हमें to or form for the preposition we call it. We have to use to and for when we change either from the indirect object or the direct object. So I have done both this sentence. Now this was the active voice, and this was, or this is the passive voice with the indirect object. And now we have here the passive voice with the direct object. So whenever we are using the direct object, we have to use the word, or the preposition rather, to or for. Now, a lot of students will say, sir, why you did not use to then? Because my father bought a chocolate not to me. He bought a chocolate for me. Mere liye. In Hindi, that's what we say. Mere papa, mere liye. That is liye. Chocolate lata hai. That's in Hindi. Okay, let us look at another sentence. I'm going to rub out the board. Okay. And this is actually for the students who I teach, the pupils who I teach. But if you feel that it could help other people or other students at your level, the 5th and 6th level, you can share this video. Okay, so now let us go back to the first sentence where we used the preposition for. Now that was there, that father buys me chocolates. Chocolates were bought for me by father. So we use the word for. You know, English is actually a language that you have to understand. There are some verbs that take for, preposition for, and some verbs, they take preposition to. Now the same sentence I have written down, but I have used the word gave. So we actually give to, buy for, give to. So father gave me a chocolate. If you want to take the indirect object, I, W-A-S, was, G-I-V-E-N, gave is past, we use was. In the first sentence, you use buys, that was present, we use is, am, are. So gave is past, we have to use was, were. So I was given a chocolate by father. That was the indirect object. Now let us go down to the direct object. A C-H-O-C-O-L-A-T-E, that is chocolate, was given to me by father. So now we have the preposition to, because by, for, and give to, there are verbs which you actually have to understand the depth of them. If you can understand the depth of the words, then prepositions with verbs become very, very easy. As I said before, these sentences that I have written on the board and I've explained to you, this will be a little bit difficult for people to understand, for students at the 5th level and 6th level to understand. But remember, whenever you have double objects, please use the preposition to and for. Thank you very much.